When I was in college, one of my friends asked me if I would mind going to dinner with him and his father. And I thought, yeah, that'd be fun. He said, well, okay, my father's going to come and pick me up. And of course, I'm a college student, so anytime free food's available. He was concerned that he wasn't going to have enough to talk about with his father, so he brought me along. Being loquacious occasionally is advantageous. So we're standing there, and about 5 o'clock, he says, well, we'll just meet him in the circle and we'll go. And he pulls up. And I watched this car coming up, and all of a sudden, I couldn't believe what I saw. It was a beautiful silver vehicle with amazing lines and just stunning. It looked like it was going to crawl on this road. It was like a panther. And what it was a Rolls Royce. A Rolls Royce Silver Ghost. Now, I had no understanding of what his father did. He was just a good friend of mine. So all of a sudden he pulls up and he says, come on, get in. And I opened the door and panicked because I had a pair of jeans on and I knew there were rivets in the back of my jeans. And I'm going to be sitting in a Rolls Royce with a pair of jeans that have rivets in it, recognizing that swoosh the wrong way or move the wrong way in a pair of jeans, I could rip the seat of a Rolls Royce that's worth more than my entire college career. That's a bit excessive, but that's how I felt when it happened. And it was lovely and not a problem, but I got to admit, every time I literally sat in that seat, stock still, for the 10 minutes it took for us to go to dinner. I admitted to him later that it happened. And he laughed. He says, my father's a collector. It wouldn't have been a problem. The luxury of that vehicle is absolutely outstanding. And I still remember that today, that my thought goes, oh my God, I'm wearing jeans which got rivets in it. The beauty of that vehicle and the way it is produced, and if you've ever not seen, Rolls Royce is the pinnacle of customer service and luxury. And maybe we'll do some deep dives on that. It's a fascinating company for me. The CODIS of that is once the Rolls Royce leaves the factory, the Rolls Royce never comes back. The factory goes to it. So if you decide that you want a pinstripe on your Rolls Royce, there is one man who does that. And he only uses specific brushes, and Rolls Royce will fly him to you. You do not come back. You can argue about too much luxury and what that is, and I'm happy to have that conversation. But what I'd like to talk to you about is how Rolls Royce markets it. Because have you ever seen anywhere where Rolls Royce actually displays their wares and markets it? Any festival or fair or conference where you see Rolls Royces? No. And they used to do that. They used to show up at various equestrian events and other events, but it was not effective marketing. And in fact, what Rolls Royce decided was the only place that you're going to be seeing Rolls Royces are in events that are selling large ticket items. One of the places, if you go to a private air show where they're selling planes, Rolls Royce will show up. And the thought there is that, oh, I'm going to be looking at a $20 million plane, and these Rolls Royces are $250,000 each. Yes, I'll take two of those because they look relatively inexpensive compared to the $20 million plane. Rolls Royce has really found their effective marketing channel. We could also argue that their marketing channel is highly exclusive, but you get the idea. If we are trying to market to a specific segment, we can't go all over the place. And one of the things I find on a regular basis is that we do that consistently. The idea that it's available and free does not necessarily mean that we should be doing it. The secret to growth isn't more channels, it's fewer. Market leaders aren't winning because they're everywhere. They're winning because they're exactly where the customers need them to be. Businesses that optimize their channel strategy get higher ROI, faster sales cycles, and more market share than their target segments. So if you're looking all of these social media options, and yes, they're absolutely free, but is that the target market that you want? And just because there's a lot of them doesn't mean that they're the right area. I had one real estate company who wanted to get their numbers up, so they decided to use TikTok. And TikTok was growing at that point exponentially, and it was doing very well, but it was growing because it had a specific market segment. And that market segment really wasn't exactly attuned to the strategy and what they were going to be doing in the actual business. So just because you have it and it's free doesn't mean you should do it. You really need to take a look at where the market segment is, what they're talking about. Rolls Royce should absolutely be nowhere near TikTok. It's a completely wrong market segment for them. And they have a very niche market of people who are actually buying. So they have to find that market, and you have to be juxtaposition. No one is going to buy a $250,000 Rolls Royce off a TikTok video. They're not going to even be aspirational off a TikTok video. And that's how we have a tendency to get ineffective marketing channels and have higher expectations. Not only do we have ineffective marketing channels around where the population is, but expectations. I can't tell you how many people I find who want to talk to me about doing a campaign where they bring people in from insert social media section here, and they go right to a $400, $500, or $1,000 product. So they go from a free thing to a $1,000 product. It's just not the right market channel for that. There needs to be some interims in there, because no one is going to take a recommendation of a free thing and immediately buy a $1,000 product. There needs to be the ability to get that brand into their heads and then give them enough time to understand it so they know, like, and trust you so that they can provide that money. So looking at just whatever you can get your message out there, a scattergun approach is not going to work as well as really learning where your people are and what they're interested in. If they're very much interested in how to do things, then Instagram is probably not where you want to be. If they're interested in how to do things, YouTube is one of the best tools for them. In fact, it's one of the best tools that still gets recommendations, where opposed to Instagram, which is much more visual keys and much more short information. And sometimes you'll find that people like to read. If you're trying to promote books and literature, video may not be where you need to be. You may need to be in the blogs worlds, and you may need to be working still in the written word. So ineffective channels sap your time, your money, and your effort. Now, if you have the ability to create a system whereby you can do one-to-many, then that kind of makes sense, because you will get percentages. What we're trying to do is get the largest percentage into that channel. If you can do one thing for that effective channel and deliver it to all the others at a no incremental cost or very little incremental cost, that may make sense. But focusing on your 3 channels and then delivering to everything else works better. The reason we built viral social stacking is because you could focus on, most of the time, 1 or 2 major channels that you do most of your work and optimization for, and then deliver to all of the other ones. And if you get better leads, then great. And if not, you meet them where they are and bring them to where you want to be. And if you're not sure, viral social stacking has the ability to go out to all of them, and you start seeing where you're doing the best and start to put more and more effort, time in there. What I'd love you to do is take a look at your market segment right now and see if you have inconsistent market. Look at where you're spending your time, money, and effort, and see if that's where you're actually finding your customers. One of the best things you could do is actually get on and talk to your customers and find out where they found you. They may say, oh, I found you on the internet. Well, dive a little deeper, find out where they usually go for information, what they see, what they're going for, and see if that market is. You'll be astounded at where you start finding people. And it's harder to track, but more and more conversations will give you a clear indication of where you should start becoming. And start pushing towards that marketing channel. Start using those metrics as your success metrics. Some people will look at a social media account and look at all of the metrics, but you really only want to look at 3. The rest of them are nice to have, but you want to look at 3 to make sure that they're working well. And finally, start focusing on those 3 that you should. Start learning about it, start optimizing your content, and start making sure that you're actually in the right channels. Maybe social media is not where you need to be. Maybe it's a person-to-person, maybe it's direct marketing. All of these are becoming more effective as the social media marketing has a tendency to start slowing down. It's becoming more strategic. We just can't spray and pray. So one of my favorite things to do is to find out where you think your best market is. Please put it in the comments below where you think your best market is, where you're finding your customers, so that we can continue this conversation. I look forward to talking with you later. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Want to transform your business with expert strategies? Schedule your strategy session today by clicking the link in the description below. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Venture Gained. See you in the next video.